So the reason why I asked us all to get together, so a colleague of mine, Kendra Black, put together a Southwest Park cleanup day, and I live right by Rocky Mountain Park, and I've been bike riding around and trying to utilize other parks, and I've seen some of our parks some are in better condition than the other. And so I just wanted to get people together and provide an opportunity for Northwest Denver to have their own park cleanup day. So I would ask Parks and Rec to help us ping other volunteers. I would ask you all as volunteers for your respective neighborhoods to also help with volunteers. We could pick a day. And if Parks and Rec does not provide us with like trash bags or any cleaning supplies, I would be able to buy them out of my own budget and I would supply them. So first I wanted to see if people agreed with this idea and thought it was a good idea and a good use of our time. So that's my first question to the group. And then B, should we pick an area? Like we could break up Northwest Denver into quadrants, or I could support each RNO doing their own park cleanup. So for instance, Jason, you would be easy because all you have is Zunai Park, right? Sunnyside is a little bit more complicated. You all have several parks in your jurisdiction, so you could pick whichever park, or you could do two of the smaller parks if you wanted. West Highland has several parks within that boundary. Brun has several parks. It has Berkeley and Regis, which are bigger. So I would leave it all up to you. But first, my first question is, do you think this is something that we should even put any of our energy towards? So we could just do a little round robin. I'll start with Jason, and I can call everybody out and just tell me what you think of the overall deal. I'll start with you, Jason.
Sure. I don't see why not. I think, I don't know about the other organizations in here, but Chafee Park, we've kind of been on hiatus, and I think this might be a good opportunity for us to kind of join together and touch base a little bit in a safe way that would help the community. So yeah, I think why not?
Okay. What about you, Paul, as West Highland? You're still muted, Paul. Paul Cloyd, we can't hear you, unfortunately. I don't know if your mic is plugged in. I know these Zoom calls are so hard. Next time I'll use Zoom.
It's probably your mic. You're unmuted, but we can't hear you.
Okay, we'll come back to you, Paul. Hold on just a sec. Try to figure that out. Anna, do you think this would be something that the Sunnyside group would want to work on? Do you think it's a good use of time and resources?
I do. I will tell you that we did a cleanup recently and had pretty low participation. So I think it would come down to having enough time and really doing some joint messaging between the RNOs to really get people excited and, you know, maybe even do like a little bit of a competition between the neighborhoods. I mean, I don't know how to do it, but we just had trouble. Now, granted, we picked like the hottest week to do it. So I don't know if that had something to do with it, but yes, we want to do it. We're just worried about how to get people excited.
Okay. And that's where I think if it comes from my office as well, I have a little bit further reach. And then Tina from Parks and Rec, she has a good volunteer list that I was going to try to see if we could utilize her volunteer list this morning. I think I can hear you now, Paul. Trying to try to come back in, Paul.
Is that any better?
That's great, Paul. Nice to hear from you.
So I think it's a worthwhile idea. I just am not sure the level of participation we might be able to round up, but I think it's worth a try. I agree with the previous speaker that if given a little bit of time, we can get some momentum going on this, that would be helpful.
Okay.
So.
Okay, and Paul, would it be okay, and Anna, would it be okay if I left it back in your ball court which park you think needs the most attention?
Yeah, yes, for us, absolutely. And, I think if we rounded up enough people, we might be able to do more than one, depending on kind of what the need is in the park.
Okay. And Paul, would would Wina be okay with picking what park felt like they needed the most attention?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
I just want to make sure that you would feel comfortable going back out to your membership to see which park that you felt needed to be cleaned up, which needed most
Okay,
attention.
yes,
Is that okay?
yes.
And then Scott or Mark, let's go to you next from Run and HBR.
Yeah, and my partner Marie just joined us too. So yes, I think it would be a very worthwhile effort. I agree with some of the previous comments that getting enough volunteers might be challenging, especially at this particular time where it's pretty hot out still. In the past, we didn't have a lot of volunteers that showed up. But I guess what I'd like to do, we have a meeting coming up with HBR and with Brun, and I'd like to bring it to the membership to see what kind of response we get and what kind of interest there is with regard to either picking a park or and doing this as a joint venture, or maybe each Braun and HBR would each pick their own park. There's lots of scenarios I can imagine, but I do agree with everyone's comments thus far that getting enough volunteers can be challenging, and we might be looking at methods and means to do that.
And I have other resources to tap into for volunteers, so I'm not concerned as much about the volunteers. I just want to make sure that the RNOs are on board, because I would reach out to all our schools as well and have some parents know about this, because a lot of times parents aren't always involved in their registered neighborhood organization. But I just want to make sure we had buy-in. So thank you, Mark. Marie, do you have any other thoughts to go along with Mark?
I think he's right. We need to check in.
Can't
I'm
hear you
going to
very
agree
well,
with
Marie.
what people have said so far. We've also been on a hiatus, and in addition to the hot weather that somebody or a couple of people mentioned, we also have the fact that we have perhaps an older demographic in our RNO and in our neighborhood as well to some degree. So whether they're going to feel comfortable and safe coming out, and anyone of any age is going to feel safe picking up trash, given the contagion sort of concern that we have in our community right now. I think those are outstanding questions.
So what I have access to 100 trash picker-uppers.
Okay, that's a good start. Yeah, and then just in general, I mean, it could definitely be a good way of reaching back out to our communities and perhaps energizing people. But I'm also fearful that we'll have to work really hard to get volunteers, and it's, as we have found in some other situations, that it's the same few people who end up doing all the work. That's my fear. So
Okay.
I'll leave it at that.
You said picking up trash and the hot weather, right?
Excuse me, what was the first thing?
You said picking up trash was an issue, so I said trash picker-uppers, like those little handheld things. But then did you also say hot weather?
Yes, hot weather, an older demographic, and the fact that we've been on a hiatus and that we've in the past actually struggled to gain volunteers for things that need doing within the RNO. So there's always that concern that the same people end up having to carry the load. Those are my concerns, but on the positive side, it would be a good way to reach out and perhaps both re-energize and reconnect with neighbors and connect with some new neighbors maybe.
And do you, Marie, remind me, do you meet in September coming up?
We have not had any meetings since early March, I think it was, before the stay-at-home order.
Oh, so it's just the land use that's been meeting virtual.
Yeah, that's very possible. Yeah, no, we've been on a hiatus based on, I think, the governor's recommendation that people not gather.
Yeah, okay. We've just had other RNOs who have Zoom platforms on, so I've joined other RNO meetings just on their Zoom
Okay.
platform. Okay. And then Scott from Honey.
All right. Well, we've actually done, we have Adopt a Spot neighborhood cleanups. So we just had one on July 18th. We had about 16 people show up. So we may be a little bit ahead of some of the other neighborhoods in terms of that. And last cleanup, we were trying to separate like recyclables and compostables and things like that, taking it to the next level. So I think getting, people from our neighborhood willing to do this wouldn't be a problem. And then also, we have the Northside Sustainability Alliance, which I think that would be a very good avenue to get, we have probably about 300 people on Facebook and our newsletter through that. So I think that would definitely be a very good avenue to help promote this. And we usually are doing these cleanups this time of year, like first thing in the morning, like 8 or 8:30 before it gets too hot. And, it would only take us about 45 minutes and before it gets too hot. So, I think we would be on board with it. And I think we would not have problems finding people to do it. I think Tom's in the call. I don't know if he has any other comments. So.
Thanks, Scott.
No, I would just have to concur. We were able. I didn't expect that many people to show up, but I was pleasantly surprised to find 16 people willing to show up to clean up. So we're in pretty good shape that way in the Highlands.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Scott. Thanks for coordinating that. It would at your last cleanup, Reed from Avesco saw you all cleaning up and had asked me at that time to try to put something together, and I just couldn't add one more thing on my plate. And then August has come, and I'm like, okay, let me add one more thing on my plate. So I agree with everyone's point that 8 a.m. I think if that would be doable, and given that it's August, that's why I wanted to have it early. That's why I tried to do this early in the month, is because I thought we could either shoot for a late August, or we could even look for something after Labor Day so that it gives us some momentum. Like Jason, you haven't figured out how to do Zoom yet, and you haven't done a Zoom. I know you know how to do it, but you haven't had a
We haven't had a reason to.
yeah, you haven't had a Coffee Park Zoom meeting, and I know like Marie Benedict from West Highland, they haven't met yet. So maybe this would give an opportunity. I'm hearing from a lot of people that people are feeling isolated and that they're not exactly knowing how to give back to our community. So I figured if I could create a safe environment where people could come together and I could get the supplies and we could make this kind of a habit during this time. If we have to go, we can do it in a safe environment. And I think that we have some energy with the Northside Sustainability Alliance and other RNOs that have sustainability part of their format, like part of their committee structure, that I think we could actually get a few people, and I have created a volunteer doc that I have that for people who want to volunteer, so I could activate that as well. So I guess what I would ask from all of you who participated on the call, first, thanks for taking this out, but do you think that like if we if we looked at the calendar, now it's September 4th, so this weekend would be August 8th. What if we look for the weekend, Tom or Scott, in your opinion, since you do these cleanups, are they better on a Saturday? Do you just have people congregate on a Saturday morning at 8 a.m. and say from 8 to 9:30 and then you're done?
Yeah, I mean, we've
Yeah,
had, go ahead, Tom.
I was going to say, yeah, that's worked very well for us. It kind of gets people out of the house first thing in the morning, and then they presumably go on the rest of their day. So that's worked for us.
So I was looking at the calendar. The Labor Day, the city's closed. It's a furlough day on Friday, September 4th, and then Labor Day is Monday the 7th. Do you think that if we had a game plan of September 12th, the weekend of Saturday the 12th, or Saturday, September 19th, is that enough time? That would give us 6 weeks to get this all together and for us to come back together to talk, and you all to go out to your membership and figure out which park, and then I can work on the cleaning supplies. Would that work for everybody on the call, the 12th or does anyone have preference between the 12th or the 19th?
You know, I think the 19th is a citywide cleanup, or am I mistaken about that?
I haven't heard about that, but that'd be cool.
I heard something. I believe it's a citywide, and we were gonna do our next like high five neighborhood cleanup on the 19th. So I don't know if trying to do something in conjunction on that day would make sense. Or I could be wrong about the date, but I believe there is a citywide cleanup on the 19th of September, if I remember correctly.
I believe you, Scott. I bet that I've heard that they're working on that, but it wouldn't hurt to do it in conjunction.
It is the 19th at 2 o'clock is what I pulled up on the website.
At what time, Mark?
2 o'clock on September 19th.
It ends at 2. It starts at 9 a.m.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's the
yes.
Creek Denver Cleanup, the Keep Denver Beautiful program.
So should we just piggyback off of that?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah,
then I can
definitely.
get supplies from them.
I'd agree
That's
with
what we're
that.
doing. Okay, so would you all be agreeable? Could I come back to you probably the week of August 25th to come back, or if we're doing September 19th, I could even do it later, but I could follow up on an email with all of you. I don't know if I have all of your email addresses who attended. If you all, I know so I'll say, Jason, I have yours. Paul, I have yours. Marie, Edgar, I have yours. Marie Benedict's, I have yours. Scott, I don't know if I have yours, and Tom, I might have yours, but I don't know if I have it easily accessible. And Marie Benedict's, I have yours. I could follow up with an email with all of you, and we could start I could create the Google link for all of you, and we could just all coordinate this as the Northwest Denver cleanup and get people activated.
That
Sounds
sounds
good.
great.
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's all agree September 19th at 8 a.m. I'll have my staff make a graphic, and so I'll send that out to you as soon as possible so you all can put that in your, if you do kind of miss, for sure you can get it in your September newsletter if you do a September newsletter. So September 19th at 8 a.m. and then we'll work with each RNO to say which park that you'll meet at, and I'll get you all supplies in advance, and then I'll make sure to come back around at the end of the day to pick up any supplies as well. I'll have one point person in each RNO to coordinate with me in my office.
Quick question.
Oh.
So, go ahead.
So my question was in regards to maybe like a joint Facebook event, maybe from your office, Amanda, that we can point people to for additional information.
Sure, that's a great idea. I could set up an event on my Facebook. Perfect. And Jason?
I also have questions, but sorry, go ahead, Jason.
Okay.
What exactly are we expecting with the cleanup? I imagine going around picking up trash. Anything other than that, or?
Just trash.
Okay, cool.
Marie Benedict? Marie, are you there?
I am there. Sorry, I pressed mute instead of unmute. I'm sorry.
No problem.
So,
no problem.
I wanted to ask the neighborhood organizations who've already had experience doing this, because we can learn from you a lot. One is, have you had any instances of feeling like you need an indemnity form for anyone who participates, so that, you know, if they were to touch a sharp object and get a disease or something like that, that they don't sue the RNO? And then also, maybe this is more a question for Amanda. In the past, we've had some trouble as an RNO arranging to have events in parks because the city wants us to sign an indemnity form and to sign up for insurance. So indemnify the city for anything that might happen to an RNO member in the park. as a result of us using the park for an event. And then I guess related to that, will we need to sign to buy insurance? I guess that's part of the same question in order to be in a park and advertise that we're having an event in the park. Oh, insurance and bathrooms. We're supposed to also provide our own porta potty. Do all of those rules apply, or is this something, Amanda, that you can get the city to waive for these? Because we'd rather not break the rules and make ourselves liable in some way.
So I could speak to the park permits. It would be me who's coordinating everything, and so if I coordinate from my office, but we're not putting on an event, we're just doing a cleanup. So I'll ask Tina from Parks and Rec, but I don't think she's ever had any problem with an RNO having to carry the insurance. I haven't heard that. I don't know if she gets a waiver signed. I'll have to follow up. I haven't heard that. But for an event like this, for just cleaning up, if we did it from 8 to 9 or 8 to 9:30, you don't need, it's not necessary. It's not, I'm not having an event where, like, I have a movie at the park at Dunai Park mostly every year, and I always provide porta pots because I know that there's going to be several hundreds of people there. This is just a cleanup event where we're just cleaning up, and I've done this before, and I've never had to coordinate a porta pot or anything like that. And then Mark or Scott, have you all ever had to have someone sign a form? Have you ran into that in these cleanups?
I haven't.
With that,
No.
if you're asking me, I'm not familiar with that.
Scott, have you?
We've never had people sign forms. No.
I've never heard that before, Marie. Even when I went
Yeah,
to
I
the
mean,
cleanup after the protests downtown, after the protest, I went down there twice to clean up. I didn't sign a
Right.
form. I just got a trash bag and gloves and picked stuff up.
Yeah,
And there were
of course.
several people.
Yeah.
But it's a good
No, I
question.
think that it's more a matter of should the organization be concerned of being held responsible? And I don't know what the view was of the organization that organized the downtown cleanups. If there indeed was an organization behind that, and if so, what they did or felt that they should be doing. But yeah, I mean, it'd be great to figure out whether that's a prudent measure to take, and or what's at stake if we don't.
Okay. I'll follow up with Tina and make sure I let everyone know.
Sounds great. Thank you. Yeah, and I mean, the intention is not to rain on the parade. The intention is just to make sure that we're prepared appropriately, so we don't do anything stupid as an organization.
Yeah, for sure.
In the process of trying to do something good.
Yeah. And if I'm ever if the city council office is ever the park permit carrier, the RNO doesn't have to get insurance. It defers to
That
ours.
sounds great.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
if
I think
I'm
that
ever,
might be how it was solved last time as well.
yeah. I know you ran into that at, I always call it Wolf Park, but that's not the name of the park. I think it's called Petsteffeler Park, or I can't pronounce that park's name.
Pferdesteller.
Yeah, Pferdesteller, exactly. All right. Well, does anyone else have, I can give you a half hour of your life back if anyone doesn't have any other questions, and we can follow up. I just wanted to make sure that I was checking in with my RNOs to make that this was actually something that I should put some of my effort towards. Okay. I see nods.
I've got two really quick things.
Okay.
This is Tom from Highland. One of my things about these cleanups is it's nice if you can, it's an opportunity to have some visibility. If you have T-shirts that have the name of your RNO on it, or something identifying yourselves that way, it's a good idea. It's a good thing to wear them, because if you're out there, you may as well be recognized as your RNO. You know what I mean? I mean, it's kind of like if the tree falls in the forest and nobody's there, does it fall? You know, if you're going to be out there cleaning up, identify yourselves. It's probably a positive public relations thing. And then the other thing, we just recently, on our cleanups, on the streets started to separate out the trash and the recyclables. So if we're like a sustainable group, then we want to do sustainable things, and it helps maybe the people doing the cleanup raise awareness of what's recyclable and what's trash to go to landfill. That's also an extra logistical step, so you may want to wait a few cleanups before you go down that route.
That's a great idea, Tom. If you all are interested in that and your RNO doesn't have funds for that, we could look at the price of t-shirts, and if you sent the logo, I'd be willing to participate in making sure that you all have that type of visibility. I mean, I can't promise like 150 per RNO, but I could get some to get you started. Thank you, Tom. That's a great idea.
Yeah, thank you for the insight, Tom. I had wondered if you provide any foods or beverages or other incentives to make it more fun for people to come out.
We don't in the Highland, to my recollection.
And I work for a volunteer organization, and we are not serving food or beverages right now because of COVID. It's just a congregation place, and so it's hard to maintain social distancing. Plus, you have people touching the same surfaces. I think it brings an element in right now that we might not want to deal with.
That's a great point. Thank you.
So bring your own mimosa.
Yeah, when I had the petition signing at the park for to petition names for the changing of the park name, I bought 500 pens, and each person who signed got a fresh pen and walked away and put that pen in their pocket, so that I didn't have to. And we were gonna have food. We were gonna do a food truck, and then we actually at the very end decided to cancel the food truck, cancel everything, and just have people there to sign and then go home. Because like what you said, it does have encourage people to congregate. So I'd be willing to provide shirts and cleaning utensils.
What about just some bottled water? Is not good to have bottles of water, but
Yeah.
it's hard right now.
Yeah, just have to
I
sit
think
by your own
latex
bottle.
gloves would probably be a good idea.
Yeah, I was thinking latex gloves, and then the Greenway Foundation has 100 of the, because they clean up the trash, and I'm next door to the Greenway Foundation down on Platt Street, so he said he could give me 100 trash picker-uppers, and then I'd go buy some buckets from Home Depot so people had buckets to put them in. So I have a plan. I see him cleaning up down at the Platte River all the time, and it's really like Tom and like Highland has said, it's super fast. Tom and Scott have mentioned you're in and out. The thing is you just need to get volunteers there, but I think we could do it. Okay. Does anyone else have any last final comments or questions? All right. Well, thank you all for joining. It was nice to see everyone's face. And if you want to share this with your RNO, I'll make sure to get it for you for your September meeting so that you could get out in your September newsletter. And then I'll create a Facebook page. I'll have my staff work on this week, so it should be up and running probably by next weekend.
Great.
All right. Thank you all.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye,
Amanda.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.